Good morning. The point of today's video is to discuss the Floyd Rose, which is quite possibly the worst thing I've ever experienced on a guitar in my life. I don't know much about guitars, so when I bought this thing recently, everyone was raving about the Floyd Rose. It's great, oh, you've got a guitar with a Floyd Rose, this is mint. What everybody does with the Floyd Rose is they play it, they do that, and they never use it again. So today what we're going to do is we're going to block the Floyd Rose so that it only works from the arm, and it only works when you press it down hard, because I'm getting quite frankly sick of it. It changes the pitch when I touch it when I'm palm muting. It changes the pitch when I'm trying to bend the strings. If I try and go up more than one octave, it just pulls down, and I don't like it. So I'm going to show you how to do it, hopefully, because I don't really know what I'm doing, but we're going to wing it. So, onto the tools of what I'm about to attempt. This is what I'm guessing I'm going to need. A small Phillips head screwdriver, a large Phillips head screwdriver, a 3mm Allen key, and a set of vernier calipers. Straight from Halfords, only the best for me. Now then, I am not a guitar tech, so bear with me on this. So these are the tools I think I'm going to need. This is the guitar I think I'm going to ruin, and we'll see how it all pans out. I'm sure it'll be fine, probably. It's only an ESP limit. What could possibly go wrong? So first up, take your 3mm Allen key and unlock the headstock lockers. Because what we're going to have to do is slacken these strings off to allow the back of that floating tremolo to move in the direction we don't want it, if that makes sense. Well, it won't, it will in a minute. Right, so they're all nice and slack. Right, so next up we need to remove the back. So first up, check that the floating tremolo in the neutral position, so it's tuned all in as normal E, D, G, B, E, yes. While all that's tuned to that, that should be dead straight. That's where you want it. If it's slightly up or slightly down, it was already set up shit to start with, so check that first. So we're all in tune and we're all set, so that's where we want it. So the next job, now that we know that we've got it in the neutral position, that's this little bastard here, what we need to do is measure this gap here. And that way, when we release the springs and we set it all back up, we're going to jack that bit, we're going to jack this bit here, and put more tension on the springs so that they are pulling it tight against that. But we want it so that this gap is correct. If this gap is correct, then it'll still stay in tune. So let's measure that now. Now I can't zoom in enough on here, but I have got 13.5 and 13.3. So the idea is that you measure these at both ends. So one at this end and one at this end. Be careful not to overextend your vernier, she said, because otherwise they are quite slack and you will alter your measurement by slackening it off. So literally just do it until it touches. So I've got 13.3 and 13.5. Next up, we're going to slacken these keys off, and that will bring the bridge straight back towards the springs, and it'll take the pressure off the springs, and then we can undo the springs. Right, so that's my strings all slack, and as you can see, this bridge has moved right in. So now we've got pretty slack springs. So what I can do is I can unhook them. Make a note, they're on the middle three, I'm going to put them back on the middle three. That gives them, from the edge, that gives them the most tension. apparently. I read somewhere in a book. 1 off. 2 off. Oh. 3 off. There we go. Right. So I now have me Floyd Rose, which is now only being held by the string tension, of which there is none. So now what I need to do is get something to wedge in this bit. So what I'm going to use, as I've read on the internet, because the internet knows what it's doing, is I've read using pennies with electrical tape. Now if you look, that gap is actually quite small in there, so most people wedge them in there. That stops you bringing it down, but it does allow it to go up. I want it to still be able to go down, so I'm going to try and, I'm half blocking this tremolo, so I'm going to increase the spring tension by screwing these screws in as far as they'll go, getting it right locked back, and hopefully there'll be enough tension in those springs to allow me to bend my notes up without losing the octave, but it'll also allow me to use the tremolo arm against the bridge to still get that downshift. Not that I've ever used it, but I might one day. So let's see how this works out. So, what we've done is we've wrapped some coins, 2 pennies in fact, with sellotape. And what I've done is I've just kept adding layers and layers of sellotape wrap to get this gap here to be exactly where I want it. Then to put the springs back on, you tuck your pennies in and you slacken these 2 screws off with your large Phillips head screwdriver. And that enables you to hook these springs on. Now what we're going to do is tighten these 2 in to put the maximum tension on these as we possibly can. So, as you can see, we've now tightened these screws right in, all the way to the backboard. Takes some effort, so don't be afraid to give it some welly. We've got an excellent tension on these springs now. And we've got the pennies in, and now we can't move this as easily as we once could. So what that does now is we've got the correct distance here, so the bridge is still flat, and hopefully I should still be able to use the whammy bar to pull the strings down, but I'll have to put more force on it, which is what I wanted. Hopefully bending the spring will not bring it down, which is what it was doing. So what we've got to do now is tune the twat in, which should be really, really easy. Right, so here we are back. We've now done all the tuning. We tuned in first, then we locked the nuts there, then we did the fine tuning here, and we checked the intonation. All good. So it's all set up. We still have the tremolo arm. What we don't have is when we're hitting palm muting, it doesn't affect it. So, and we can also now bend a full octave. So, yeah, we're all in tune. We can now do full-on bends without missing octaves. Cheers for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. They're not all guitar videos because I'm not a guitarist and I'm not a tech, but I have just engineered my little ESP Limited M1000 core, and now the Floyd Rose is no longer having my life. Thank you very much for watching.